What's going on, everybody? It's Jeff here. Welcome back to the channel. Bloody day to start off the first Monday in October. Social media sites down for extended periods of time, especially after a big whistleblower release happened yesterday on 60 Minutes. In this video, I'm going to go over everything that's happening. And then I also want to talk about the monster weekend AMC had. So let's get right into it. First off, this article was released yesterday, or today, I should say, after in 60 Minutes last night, talking about a whistleblower saying Facebook is misleading the public on progress against hate speech, violence, and misinformation. Facebook has not always been one of the most free of speech apps out there, such as potentially like Twitter or Reddit. So we know that they've really kind of constricted on what they let their users actually post. This came out yesterday. You can take a look a little bit further in exactly what happened and what this individual said. Although I find it quite ironic, which coincidences do happen, that Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp all went down simultaneously for extended periods of time. Now, Facebook has had outages before. I've been advertising on Facebook for a very long time. And let me tell you, from an advertiser standpoint, it has gotten to be very, very difficult, which is why I think some advertisers are starting to flee its business platform and starting to utilize other avenues such as Google and YouTube, because their constrictions and restrictions have made it very difficult for advertisers. However, the amount of time Facebook is down is very minimal. They have an issue 10, 12, 20, maybe 30 minutes at tops. It's out. And this was down for much longer than that. Find it to be a little bit skeptical. Next thing I want to talk about before we get into AMC's theater this weekend was this tweet right here. If you don't follow Delta One, this is Walter Bloomberg. He is an absolute machine when it comes to getting quality information, reliable information out very, very quickly. He probably sent out close to 50 or 60 tweets alone today, but this one really stuck with me. Talking all about the debt ceiling and Biden, and he was getting into the Republicans need to give up what Biden was saying and so forth. But this one right here, Biden says in the days ahead, people may see their retirement account value sink and interest rates go up. That one I thought really kind of stuck to me. Today, the SPY was insanely choppy. If you take a look at some of the action it had, it seemed like it based around that 426. If we go over to look at exactly where supports are sitting, we are still quite a ways away from that 200 moving average. It looks like we are not going to be able to hang on to that 100 moving average as support. And like I said, that pattern has completely changed, but absolutely sideways and choppy today. And the VIX kind of followed along with that as well. We did start to slowly recover a little bit towards the end of the day. We're gonna have to see exactly what happens tomorrow. We might get a little bit of pop at the open, as we have had numerous times with the SPY, and it's just not really holding. I just found it very interesting when I saw this tweet from him, and it might say a little bit differently. It might speak a little bit differently to me, because I understand how this guy tweets. He comes up with his information and he gets it, and how he relates what he reads into his tweets. So just to see him putting this out there, it's going to start to stir a little bit of fear happening in the market. So keep that in mind. Like I said, we're still going short with all of our positions. Some of the plays that we had today, I called out pre-market, were monster. CEI holding that $3 support. I think that one ran all the way up to, I think it was 342 as a high. XENE was a good one. I said if it really had a big break below 26, it would sell off all day. It hung around that $30 move, or that $30 price point, and had a nice rip above that all the way to almost that 30, I think it was a 30, almost 31.50. I think it actually did do a little bit after hours as well. That was a good one. Moderna was a monster, hit a low of 305. I said this last week. It had a $25 move after a massive sell-off. Love playing some of these dips. These stocks just sell off so hard right away at the open that they slowly recover a little bit towards the end of the day, especially getting into about that, just a little bit before power hour, then maybe curling a little bit down at the bottom. But that one was a monster play as well. The other one I really want to talk about too was PED above $2. Just got another 10% move, which was awesome. And lastly, AMPY. This one was down due to an oil spill. However, it was very, very dramatic, hitting a low of 185. We picked that up a little bit pre-market, rode it all the way up, hit that 350, ended up kind of consolidating a little sell-off, and then actually had two halts going into power hour, which is massive, hitting a high of 370. Still think it is a little bit oversold. It is in the energy sector, and if you zoom out a little bit, it has had an extended upbring with all of the energy sector, but that one was a phenomenal play. Lastly, let's get into AMC. It seemed like it kind of trend the SPY pretty much. If you look at it, was starting to break that pattern, and unfortunately it kind of move back with it. However, I want to talk about what happened over this weekend. 4 million people went to AMC theaters over the weekend. And it's funny because this one right here, the James Bond film, setting a record since the movie halls were reopened after being shut down. It just seems like every few weeks, almost a month or so, we continue to break new records. I think the last one was over the Labor Day weekend, which was the Marvel release, and it surpassed, it was not just the largest Labor Day weekend since the pandemic. It was the largest Labor Day weekend. And I think, like it says right here, 2019 held the record before. So we're continuing to break new records. And this article was a great article, pretty much by Reuters, stating that they still want to go to the movies. People want to get out. They want to go. Adam Aaron has done a great job trying to, renovate your movie theater experience from being something that you remember it being the same thing as 20 years ago. So that was good. We didn't get much of a pop, like I said, today. And I think it really carried just the entire market. One thing I'm looking very closely towards for happening again is going to be that next earnings call. It still is a little bit of a way. However, we crushed last earnings, so it's going to be nice to see exactly what happens. Right now, we are channeling, we are staying in that same, bouncing off the 50 to 100-day moving average. We have some support right here as we've slowly uptrended up around that $36 price point, and we're hitting a little bit of resistance as at a psychological 40, but also at another trend line of the 50-day moving average at support. Consolidation is good, and like I said, we're bouncing between that area. It's better than we were bouncing between the $29 and $32 price point. Like I said, we still stand so much higher than we were at the $8 range. We're not breaking down below. It's not volatile. Like I said, let this continue to happen. We had a little bit of a breakout getting up to 52 off that $29 range. We're going to have more consolidation and get that next leg up to continue that move to the upside. So I'll keep on monitoring this, guys. That's it for this one. If you're interested in getting some of our quick plays, first link in the description, come check it out. We'd love to have you. I'll see you in the next one.